My name is Earl Dawson, and this ranch has been in my family for 3 generations. Every fence post, every acre, and every trail tells a story. I never imagined that my biggest battle wouldn't be with nature, but with an HOA miles away. That morning, a white HOA security SUV rolled across my private road, as if it belonged to them. They didn't stop, wave, or ask permission. They simply treated my ranch like a public shortcut. I walked over and calmly explained that the road was private property. I asked them to use the county road instead. They barely listened before driving away. The next few days, more HOA security vehicles appeared. Morning, afternoon, even before sunset, they kept crossing my land as though my warnings meant nothing. Before taking any action, I double-checked my survey records. The boundary lines were crystal clear. That entrance road belonged entirely to my ranch. I installed larger warning signs where no one could miss them. If someone entered after that, it wouldn't be because they didn't know. It would be a choice. The signs lasted less than a day before another SUV drove straight past them. It was becoming obvious that my requests were being ignored. Thankfully, my ranch cameras recorded every visit, date after date, vehicle after vehicle. The footage showed the same pattern of unauthorized crossings. To remove every doubt, I invited a licensed surveyor to inspect the property. The results matched every document I already had. By then, I knew simple warnings weren't enough. Everything I did next would stay within my property rights, but it would finally put an end to the constant trespassing. I decided it was time to improve my own entrance. Strong steel bollards would protect the gate while keeping everything clearly inside my property line. Everything was carefully measured before work began. Every location matched the official survey, so there would be no question about where the improvements were placed. The crew anchored each bollard deep into reinforced concrete. These weren't temporary barriers. They were permanent improvements to protect the entrance. Within 2 days, the entrance looked completely different. It was clean, professional, and clearly marked for anyone approaching the property. The next morning, the HOA security team noticed the changes immediately. They stared at the entrance as if they couldn't believe I had protected my own property. One supervisor insisted the shortcut should remain open. I simply reminded him that the entrance was private property and that alternate public roads were available. They eventually drove away without another word. I hoped the conversation had settled the matter once and for all. Later that evening, my security cameras detected another HOA vehicle approaching. This time, everything would be recorded from multiple angles. The driver slowed down near the entrance and looked carefully at the new setup. Every warning sign was visible long before reaching the gate. As the sun dipped below the horizon, both sides stood their ground. I had stayed within my property rights, and the next move would be entirely up to them. The following afternoon, another HOA security SUV appeared at my entrance. Every warning sign was impossible to miss, yet they continued toward the gate. The officers stepped out to inspect the new barriers. They talked among themselves for several minutes while I simply observed from inside my property. The signs clearly explained that unauthorized vehicles were not permitted beyond that point. There was no confusion about where the private property began. I politely reminded them that public access was available using the county road. My goal wasn't to argue. It was simply to protect my family's land. Without another discussion, they headed back to their vehicle. My cameras continued recording every movement at the entrance. Instead of taking the public route, the driver slowly tried continue through the entrance. The protective bollards stood exactly where they had been installed. The SUV came to a stop against the fixed steel bollards. The barriers remained exactly where they belonged, protecting the entrance as intended. The officers looked frustrated and inspected the front of their vehicle. Meanwhile, my cameras had captured the entire sequence from several angles. Soon afterward, independent professionals reviewed the entrance and confirmed improvements were located entirely within my property boundaries. From that day forward, the county road became their only route. Sometimes, respecting property boundaries is the simplest solution and the most effective one. If you enjoyed this HOA story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more incredible ranch and HOA battles. And let us know in the comments, where are you watching from?